Hey everyone, this is Uthris. Welcome back to our Space Engineers Let's Build series. We're still working on the frigate. It's still probably going to be a couple more episodes. This thing is growing exponentially. As you can see, I'm kind of trying to define the outer profile at the moment. Figure out what this empty space would be used for. And so I went ahead and filled it with a good bit of cargo containers, because this is a ship that I'm sure will be using up a lot of ammo once it's fully armed and battle ready. I'm going to be changing some of the profile around, making it look a lot more bulky and heavy set, so that it can actually kind of fill a battle role a little bit better, because right now it's just looking like a normal freighter. So we're going to be using a bunch of layering techniques and kind of wrapping armor around it. The interior is going to be all this light armor, but the exterior, the main part of it's going to be heavy armor. And the nice thing about heavy armor, I was testing this earlier. I never actually tested to see how much damage heavy armor can take. Oop. I don't want that to be a moving target just yet. And so if we go over here to our light bomber, keep in mind this is a light bomber. It's not really meant to take out really heavy armored targets like this, but we just have 2 layers of heavy armor up here, and this is using the light heavy armor blocks, so we're not using large ship blocks here. And this is just so you guys can kind of see how much damage it can take. I believe I tested just kind of like focus fire on a single spot for about 20 shots before it actually broke through 2 layers of heavy light armor. And this is firing 2 rockets at once. Well, actually this might be blinding you guys, me being this close to it. So you can see all that firepower we just put into it. It's made one little hole. Sure, it scratched up a shit ton on the rest, but that's all the damage that could do. And in the meantime, the frigate would be, shooting its turrets at this thing, and this thing would have to be dodging and still trying to lay down fire in a concentrating manner, which really would be a tall order, I think. And so you can kind of understand that, I think, which is certain armor platings will maybe only have 1 layer of heavy armor over the light armor, but then some areas there might be a double set in terms of like structurally important, like the cockpit, or maybe around the neck of the cockpit and around gunning areas, and then also around major interior pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead and park this again. And also our light transport, technically, the plan was to replace some of its armor with heavy, so it wouldn't be quite as squishy. And heavy armor blocks right now do their job. They're very, very strong, I think, which is a good thing. They're also very costly, so it's another thing to determine when you're making a ship. Now, yes, in terms of cost, if you have a good mining operation and you're just getting a bunch of iron, it's not a big deal, especially if you have some sort of large dock area for producing these ships. I don't know how big this ship's going to be still. As you can see, we're almost down the whole length that I kind of predetermined. It might end up going a little bit longer. And so to make this giant machine to kind of pump out a blueprint of this thing, I mean, it's going to be a big undertaking to do. Once it's made, you can pump these out, I would assume, fairly quickly. I've been working a bit on the interior, and I can go ahead and show you guys this now. So from the cockpit and then connecting hallway from the small quarters for the lesser crew areas, we come down, continuing down the main hallway. We have kind of a shaft here to get down to the lower deck. And then also a bathroom right across the hall. It has a toilet, a sink, and the full shower, which is pretty cool. It all fits in one room. And yeah, it's a bathroom. There's not much I can say about it beyond that. I'm really trying to fit full doors in here. I don't want to use hanger doors. They just wouldn't make sense here. So we drop down a level. This is where we'll get a officer's room. They get double beds. It is basically twice as big as the normal crew quarters. And then attached to this also is the captain's quarters. They have some seating, some tables, a large screen TV, and also a double bed. I'm trying to keep things relatively humble, just because, I mean, it's a ship of war rather than a luxury cruise liner. But of course, the captain's quarters is fairly nice. Up here, this is what we're going to be working on a little bit. This is going to be the kitchen area. At least in my mind, that's what this area is. It's going to be a L-shaped kind of structure. I don't think I have any mods for any kitchen appliances yet. I could probably go look for some. In fact, I might do that in the middle of the episode. I just want to at least get the room laid out where we want it. And then also off from the kitchen will probably be the way into the engineering bay, where all the reactors, power plants, some gyroscopes will be, things like that. And then underneath the kitchen on the lower deck will probably be a small rec room. And then also the main entrance into the craft itself. Let's see. So, no doorway dividing the kitchen. It's going to be just kind of an open archway. It is kind of a very public space, I think. So there's no need to divide that up. But the way out of the kitchen into the more engineering side of the ship, well, actually thinking about it, should the engineering be on the lower deck near the entrance of the ship, or should it be up here by the kitchen, or should the rec room be up here by the kitchen and the engineering down here? Technically makes more sense for the rec room to be near the kitchen like this, but it might be weird that the engineering bay is on the lower part of the ship. It is very boxy, as you guys can see, so that'll get changed once we start adding a lot of the armor onto it and the main engine bays. The engine bays are going to be very reminiscent of our trade ship. They're going to be nice kind of cylinder attachments. I'm thinking the rec room should be up here by the kitchen. So that's okay. There's that. And it doesn't have to be very big. I mean, it can really just be this size of a space. And then I have some more decorations. I can put in some game consoles, some old school arcade, maybe a pool table, and they're high class. They do pool. They don't do ping pong. Even though I technically prefer ping pong. I think it's a little bit more fun with people. Come on, rotate. As I said earlier, I don't particularly like the rotation tools in Space Engineers compared to Medieval Engineers. They're a little less intuitive. Just raise this up. Put in our pool table on this side. Make sure there's plenty of space to walk around it. Flip it around, I think. So 2 blocks on each side, is that enough? Yeah. Well, actually, no. It's gonna need, I think, 3 blocks on each side. Something like that will be okay. Then some locker, I guess. Okay. Are these lockers actually usable? No? Darn. So here's the little rec room, I suppose. I can maybe throw some pillars here just to break up this space a little bit so it's not too flat. This will kind of mark the end of the ship. And then, since it's a rec room, I can just leave it an open kind of doorway here. Doesn't have to be sealed off in any means. Oh, nope. What the heck? Okay. I accidentally did Control X on that and deleted it, but luckily it saved a copy. Gotta be careful when you're doing all these things. Pool table's kind of a tight fit. Maybe ping pong makes more sense. No, that's a tight fit too. Get rid of these pillars. Makes the room a little bit bigger. I think that's better. And I don't think I want these all on the same wall. So we can space them out at least a little bit. Something like that. And that'll probably be a nice layout for our rec room. Okay, so we're going on about 15 minutes. I'm gonna do a bit of a time skip, try and quickly find a kitchen mod so we can get the kitchen done. Come back, I'll show you guys these areas, and then maybe call it an episode. really trying to problem solve in terms of like how I want everything to fit together, and then also just keeping it small but spacious enough to work. So yeah, be right back. Alright everyone, as you can see, the ship is a lot, well, more boxy. I downloaded a kitchen pack, mess hall. It's only compatible with large ships, so I can't use them. So working with the best that I could, I went ahead and tried to make a kitchen. We got a nice table, 6 chairs. I think that's enough for every crew, if I remember. It's, yeah, about 6 people. It's a bit of a low table, but it works for the most part. My legs do clip through a little bit, but it's okay. Kind of a bar prep area, and then also some shelving to store whatever we need. And this is the only shelving type object that I had, so basically picture it as a pantry. That's what I'm doing. There's a bunch of details need to be done in terms of carving out the interior and making it as detailed as possible, but we can do that a little later down the line. I mean, I want pretty much everything to be as detailed as the front end of the ship here. Like, all of this detail would be really nice to have. And it's still to run piping through the ship and make sure everything's running in terms of everything being hooked up to the correct cargo units. And then down here, I guess we should at least lay out our room for our engine bay. I'm trying to decide how I want this to work. Either I can do kind of 2 rooms and split down the using the hallway. That way the main hallway is still the access point onto the ship, and have that kind of access point at the back end of the ship. Very similar to Elite Dangerous. A lot of their crew hatches are either at the very front or at the very back. And if I do it at the front, I would have to move this around a little bit and try and make a deployable door here, which we have room for. I would just basically get rid of the center kind of thing here. The main problem with that, though, is just the captain's quarters is here, and so is the officer's quarters. So it's not very feasible to do. We're not going to be adding any windows to any of these rooms. It is a ship of war, so we're just going to be armoring it up, and then the windows will be mainly in the front. That could change later down the line depending on the aesthetics and what it ends up looking like. If it feels like a window could fit, I'll add it, but it is definitely kind of an instant weak point. So let's go ahead and I think seal this off for the most part. Thinking we're gonna have to use the fusion reactor. How big is this thing? That's not very big. Whoa. This thing doesn't feel nearly as big as before. I don't know why. But we can essentially do something like this. Have a front kind of stack like this. And then maybe 8. Yes. I think we're going to try and hook up 2 6-point reactors to give us a nice way to connect these two, and then also allow them to be piped up with the rest of the ship. If I can find a nice center point. Seems to be the challenge of the day. No. Here? Sure, that works. You guys can see it almost looks like an adapter to hook those two areas up. Misclick again. Is that centered? Yep. So that'll be kind of a cool effect. I might do multiple of these. It might make sense to do this like so. I think this will generate plenty of power for the ship. The transport ship can run on, I think, 2, and it has, I think, 8 of them. So you do get a nice trade-off if you have more. If one gets damaged, the other ones can kind of pick up the slack. Oop. Head down here. And do I have pipes? Yes, I do. And I'm just trying to make sure it all hooks up in a good way. If one of these pipes breaks, the others will definitely be able to take its load. Then at this point, it might be good to call it an episode. We've been doing this for a while now. I would have to do another probably time skip to keep this interesting, and I might as well just do that and start a new episode. That way it just doesn't drag on and on. So thanks for watching as always. Next episode we'll be working additionally on piping everything up, and then working on aesthetics of the ship after we start attaching engines, and then putting on our heavy plating, and then trying to arm it. Not all that's going to get done next episode, I assure you. Might as well aim big though. Check out my other videos if you like. I do some other cool builds with medieval engineers. My previous episodes where we built all of those ships down there that you see. And I do some other video games here and there every now and then, just to kind of mix it up. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.